All right, good. Started. I want to welcome everybody to this special called meeting of the Temple City Council for Friday, May 22nd, 2026. It's about 20 minutes until 8. And on the agenda today is conduct the City of Temple budget review meeting, including but not limited to discussion regarding the proposed fiscal year 2027 business plan and an overview of the proposed fiscal year 2027 annual budget. Ms. Myers.
Mayor and Council, this is a continuation with our operating budget strategic priority highlights. So today we have presentations from our public safety departments and our high-performing organization departments under both Sean and Tracy's leadership. So we have a series of presentations for you today. It will follow the same format as last week, where the departments are highlighting their top priorities. You'll see an icon on the slide if the department head team collectively rated that one of the top 50 priorities across the entire organization. And we do ask if you will pull up your rating tool and rate as we go along, so that we have that feedback and data to help us as we put together the proposed budget for the upcoming year. So if we don't have anything preliminary, we're going to kick off with the police department.
Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to, Coy Brown, Chief of Police, Deputy Chief Alan Teston will be doing the presentation.
Good.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So our strategic initiatives that we presented, cover not just FY27, but the entire strategic plan period up through FY31. And so I want to highlight those for you. And all of our priorities align with staffing needs that we're presenting to you. And there's 14 different priorities presented on this overview slide, and then I'll dig in deeper on each priority as we move through. I promise you I won't take a full 30 minutes to do this. So our first priority is upstaffing in police officers and police lieutenants. Over the next, between 27 and 31, we have a need to add 12 new officer positions to patrol and increase our lieutenant staffing by 3. So what we just to take a highlight something that we've done this year, in January we realigned patrol and went straight to a 12-hour shift programming. By doing so, we were able to, at the same time, add 2 more patrol districts to the city. So we went from 8 patrol districts to 10, which had been a long-term plan of the city to do so, and it added more coverage on the west side of Temple, shrinking some of those districts on the west side of Temple. But the other plan that we had going along with that 10-district plan was to go to 10-hour shifts. And so these added staff members would bring us to a point that we could transition to the 10-hour shifts. We believe that by going to the 10-hour shifts here, we could it benefit the department by reducing fatigue, officer fatigue, and improving their performance, strengthening the supervisor and accountability with the added 3 lieutenants, putting a lieutenant on each of the patrol teams on the 10-hour shifts, and then lowering our overtime expenditures. I would highlight that through the plans that we put in place this year in January, we made the transition, we were able to dramatically drop our overtime usage through that initiative. We also believe that it improve on our recruiting and retention and enhance community service delivery. I think when you have a well-rested officer, they tend to be more polite and social with the community. When they're fatigued, that's when we tend to have our issues with officers getting a little grumpy, things like that, and we get complaints. So having
I think we're all good.
so having them well rested impacts customer service dramatically.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't have a gun.
Our next priorities are related to our animal services unit. With the expansion that was done to the animal service unit facility, we have a need to add more staffing inside the facility to maintain the cleanliness and health of the facility. Even with the added space, we are at capacity most of the time with animals, which requires a lot of daily cleaning. They come in every morning and spend about the first 2 hours of every morning just cleaning and sanitizing the shelter. That added staff would help in that process, put less stress on the staff trying to get that shelter open to the public. We also have a goal long-term of potentially opening to 6 full days instead of having a half day on Saturday, being able to expand our hours down the road. So hopefully that have more access for the public to come into the shelter and adopt animals out. But we need the staffing to support that endeavor. So we also, as the city grows, we'll need another addition to the field officer position. And we asked for that this year, but it's one that we could delay into a future year if necessary.
So the priority is on the 2 techs?
The 2 techs is our priority in FY27. The field officer, we could put down the road a little later. It's not an absolute necessity for next budget year. Our next request is a program manager for grants. We feel that we're missing out on a lot of opportunities to fund public safety, police public safety operations through grants. There's federal grants out there that we could pursue. There's state grants out there that we could pursue, and there's even grants from public sector entities that we could pursue. But in order to do that, we need someone that's focused inside the agency to help us write those grants, monitor those grants, and ensure that we maintain compliance with those standards. We had an issue this past year with a COPS grant that we had working through, and that really highlighted we didn't have a dedicated staff member. Thankfully, we've had, our admin assistant for budget in the PD, and then with the finance department, we were able to work through that and ensure that we were able to report and we were in compliance with the grant standard. But it was a struggle because we're picking and pulling across different departments to try to come together to ensure this. We think having one person in charge of that and monitoring our grant programs would ensure compliance once we receive grants, but also enhance our ability to go after this funding sources that we don't do very proactively right now.
Are these grants, are most of them so we can get funds for things we already do, or to do new?
It'd be for new things. One avenue would be a COPS grant. If long-term plan is down the road is to add more COPS officers to the department to do community-oriented police services. There are funds through the federal government that we can apply for COPS grants to fund officer positions. But it is highly regulatory. There's a lot of reporting that goes into it, things of that nature. We want to ensure that when we apply for these grants that we're well positioned to make sure that we can provide those, that we can show our compliance and report back effectively on those grants.
Would the grant writer also be in charge of the compliance piece, or would that fall to somebody else in the department or to a whole other department?
No, we want to have one centralized person that we'd absolutely still have to work with finance and other departments but that one person would be our internal person that would reach out to finance or to admin, chief, and ourselves. There's components of those grants that we have to write compliance statements for, things like that. But they would be the one that checks the schedule, knows when reports are due, things like that, know what grants are coming up that we could apply for, and be actively searching for grants that we could apply for. So they'd regularly be looking through the different grant programs to see what's out there that's being pushed out that we might be eligible to go after. So.
Are there any grants available for things that we already do? And what I'm getting at, is there a way to get grants that would actually pay for this position? Or is it all new programs that grants are for?
I haven't found a program that would pay for this position, that we're
I mean,
asking
not
for, but.
directly, but is there any grant, like something we're already doing? Is there grants that would help us fund something we're already doing?
Takes a
or
grant
help
writer
us
to find a
Line
grant.
item in the budget, so to speak.
Typically, grants don't allow what's
So,
called
empty.
supplanting, meaning you were already funding something and you're seeking a grant to remove the funding that you were already doing. So certainly federal and state grants, unless under very specific circumstances like a reduction in force plan or something like that, they would typically not allow supplanting of funds. Private sector grants, foundation grants and things like that, vary much more widely than federal and state grants. But typically, granting agencies are looking to fund new or expanded programs and not to replace existing funding.
As back to the position, as far as finance, we help with the financial compliance of the grant, but different departments, they have to comply with what we call program delivery, because there's a lot of strings attached to that, and that's how this position would really help with that.
Wasn't there a request in the last budget or two for a grant writer in community and housing? Did that get filled?
It was not funded yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Our next request was for an admin assistant and accreditation manager. We are currently accredited by the Texas Police Chiefs Association. We're managing that accreditation through our professional standards unit lieutenant with the assistance of the sergeant in the unit. We are able to manage that program with the current staff, with that lieutenant overseeing that. But there's been a long-term conversation about going after a CALIA accreditation, which is a national accreditation. It is our belief that if we go after and pursue that CALIA accreditation standard, that we will need someone that's focused on that, on our accreditation programs to make sure that we are able to achieve both. Our plan would be not to go after CALIA and drop TPCA, would be to manage both and do both. And where some of their standards in TCPA and CALIA are similar, there's some that are dramatically different, and so it's quite a lift to manage both at the same time. So this is up here as a future item that we would like to pursue, especially if we continue to receive direction to go after the CALIA accreditation, but it's not something that's needed immediately. So
Am I missing, what does CALIA stand for?
trying to remember.
The LEA stands
So-
for Law
First
Enforcement
one.
Accreditation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's California?
No,
I hope not.
no, it's not. No. So,
That's fine, I'll make something up.
I should.
Okay.
Thank you. Have people backing me up, so helping. Our next priority is to fund a civilian supervisor position for our crime scene staff. Currently, we have 4 crime scene staff members in the department. They fall under the direct supervision of our violent crimes investigative sergeant. That sergeant also oversees 7 other, as a corporal and 6 detectives. So his span of control is stretched with the 4 crime scene techs. We're managing it at this point in time, but we think as that unit continues to evolve and that dedicating a supervisor to that unit to supervise them and manage them would enhance our services. We continue to add new technologies to the department. We're currently working on pursuing a contract to bring NIBIN, the ballistic. We've talked about it, I think, before about being able to look at shell casings and basically the ballistic fingerprint of a firearm. We're looking at a lease program that right now that we, instead of us having to go once or twice a week to Waco to run that, bringing an in-house system into the PD. So we're continuing to add new technologies and things to the department. Having a supervisor who's immersed in crime scene functions would help that unit as we continue to evolve and take on new technologies and tasks. One of our big issues right now is electronic technology is really booming in law enforcement, and having technicians well-educated and technically proficient to provide investigations into that is much needed, but also having a supervisor that can provide direction and all would greatly support those four crime scene technicians. And just, looking, this is not in the FY 27 to 30 or 31 plan, but just putting this on the radar of future needs for the expansion of our investigative unit. Right now we program and focus this toward our property crimes unit, mainly due to that's the largest number of crimes reported is related to property crimes. But as we go along in future years, we may need to add an officer to violent crimes and maybe just 3 officers to property crimes, something like that. We'll need to adjust and flex as possible to see where we actually need them as we continue in future years. But we know with the increased population and the increased caseloads that we're receiving, this is going to be a long-term need is to add detectives to our units. We're doing well right now. Our overall crimes are going down in Temple. So the last couple of months, as we've watched this year, our crime rate is dropping, and so that's a plus. So that may stave off some of these additions, but it's something to just keep in mind that we're going to need going down in the future. So. And then also looking at FY 31, we were looking at adding 5 more officers to our community police services unit. This unit does a lot of our community engagement, also addresses our homeless population and directs our homeless population to resources and deals with those needs. They're also that somewhat of a quick reactionary force for us, that when we need a unit to come in at short notice to cover something that's going on, that's the unit we normally go after that has the most flexibility in their schedules to be able to provide services. So as the city continues to grow, this is a unit that needs to grow to meet the future demands of the department and the city, and provide those community engagement opportunities and to deal with emerging issues. And along with that as well, as we expand that unit with adding 5 more officers, we would need to add another sergeant to that unit so that we don't have a span of control issue. We'd have to have basically 2 units with a sergeant over each unit in the cops section. So I think that concludes what we have to present, but we're open to any questions or concerns or.
Remind me, like, if you have a lieutenant for patrol, are they also patrolling?
They're mainly handle the administrative business of that patrol team, but they do go out and patrol when they have time available. But they're also there for critical instance, high profile, case, on scene support. They more in an advisor role to the officers and sergeants to guide them in the field, day to day.
So they do administrative, and then when they're not doing that, they do patrol, but.
They do patrol and they
but they're the
support our,
one if an officer needs a backup, is that who's probably gonna come?
they can come and back up, yes. We do it all the way through the department. You'll see the chiefs out on patrol from time to time, backing up officers on calls. That's why we come in uniform every day to work, so if we need to, we can go out and help them, so.
A quick review of the current staffing at the animal shelter. How many people, how many, kind of by job title?
We have the Animal Services Manager. That was a position y'all added last year. Amy Strunk is the Animal Services Manager. Then we have 2 supervisors. We have the Animal Shelter Supervisor. Martin is moving into that position. We have a vacant Field Services Supervisor we're trying to fill, so that's the one that James was in. Under the shelter, I think we have 5 or 6, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Okay.
Staff members under the shelter, and I think it's 4 staff members on Field Services side.
So 15-ish people, sounds like?
3, 6, 9, 13, 14,
Okay.
somewhere in there, yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
We're looking it up.
looking it up.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about putting you on the spot. Just
No, I'm trying to
curious.
look at my board in my
No, I
office, and it's not coming in clear right now. 12?
12?
12 positions. So as Chief said, there's the manager, the 2 supervisors, and then there is a
5 and 4.
Staff.
officers or technicians that
Yep.
are split between the field and the shelter. And the difference between an officer and technician relates to their certification. So an officer could be assigned to the field or they could be assigned to the shelter. So I don't remember the breakout between
I think there's-
who's typically in the field or the shelter, but they help each other
Sure.
out as well. So there's a total of 12 staff, with 9 of them being the technicians for either the field or the shelter.
Okay, very good.
This wasn't part of the budget, but it's something that I was talking to Sean. I think we received an email about the flock system, and I read an article, or I think maybe I saw something on TV, about the shooting in Austin recently. And I thought it was so interesting that Austin had suspended their flock system, and they spent hours looking for those teens that were driving around shooting people. But the minute they drove past Manor city lines, the flock system flipped on and they were able to find them. So for me, that just solidifies that we're doing the right
Well,
thing, so.
And I would say our systems our implementation of Flock and even DFR, we've been about 3 weeks into the 1 unit of the 3 is up and running, is impacting crime in Temple and driving it down. And speaking to the Flock cameras, our most recent murder, we were able to pick up the suspect vehicle before and just after the murder on Flock in the area where the murder occurred.
Wow.
It is directly connected to solving that case. So Flock is reducing crime in Temple, but also helping us solve crimes that have occurred. So I would request y'all continue to support it as much as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
And we do have, one of the drones are up.
We have 1 drone up and operational. We have 2 more that we need to get up and operational. With some of the weather, trying to get the sites prepped has delayed us. So once maybe the rainy weather subsides a little bit, we'll be able to get those up and running. So
But we have all the funding for the towers and everything for that.
everything's funded. It's just a matter of getting them some break in the weather so we can get the sites established. So, yeah. Chief. Thank you.
Bet.
Guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. are you next? I don't have a rundown. I don't have a schedule.
Next is fire.
Okay.
Thought they get to choose.
I was told that that is not true.
Okay.
Miranda gave me a list, and I'm afraid of Miranda.
Don't cross her, don't cross her. Did you make it to graduation in time, Landy? Good.
If you were late, did you blame it on us?
No,
I heard it was
Absolutely
1
not.
hour, which is surprising. They said Troy did it in 1 hour.
yeah, they move with a purpose sometimes. But yes, it was a nice service. It was, of course, my wife. If something starts at 6 o'clock, we have to be there in line to get in at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the rush yesterday.
I
appreciate
mean,
it.
her baby's graduating.
Oh, yeah. The first baby too. Yeah. Hopefully we can chill out just a little bit for the next ones, but I don't suspect that'll be the case.
The third one, you didn't have to go.
It's terrible.
Before Landy goes, I just have a question on our ranking here. Like, there's 3 different. It says 3 police officers patrol, but that's 3 times. Is that 1, 1, and 1, or is that 9?
And animal tech.
Yeah.
There,
We need, the request is for a total of 9.
So there is 9. So is this different years
We're wanting
then?
to add 3 at a time.
So this is not the coming year budget, it's the,
Yes,
The plan.
so he, if, do you mind switching back over? He had the layout on one of his slides.
yeah, I saw that.
There was three in 27, 3 in 28, the lieutenants in 29, and then the, 3 more in, 30 and 31. So there's actually 9, total.
On here for our ranking, because it says 3 police officers patrol, and then again 3 police officers. Are those for each year then?
3 a year is,
So that's, but we're ranking them separately here. So
because you could think the first 3 are important,
and
and the
then-
next 3 aren't important. I don't think that's what you think, but you could.
and the same with shelter tech. Okay.
You know, I appreciate this system, and it works very well, but it might be helpful, like, so, you know, on the slide, it's broken out by fiscal year. It might be nice to put fiscal year here, because I would think in fiscal year 27 and 28, for me, I would say those 3 officers are very important, right, sooner. But then you would want a little bit more flexibility maybe in future years, which I know you'll get that next year, creating the budget. Does that make sense?
It does.
I think that's what's confusing me. If it said 26, 27, or 27, 28, I would, but I don't know.
It is important, though, that we don't focus in on when you're funding it, because just because they're requesting it in 27 doesn't mean we're gonna be able to do it in 27. So it's more, are 3 officers important to you? How important in the 6-year plan? Are 6 officers important to you?
Okay.
How important in the 6-year plan? Are 9 officers
Okay.
important to you?
That
How
makes sense.
important in the 6-year plan? Are 12 officers important? How important? But we're not at the granular level yet to say it needs to be in 27 or 28 or 29. Just that it needs to be in the plan somewhere. If it's a critical priority to be in the plan, or it's a high priority to be in the plan, or it's medium or low, but we don't have the data yet to say which fiscal year.
Got it.
That makes sense.
The reason they're separated and it's not gonna say 12 is because they're not requesting to have 12 all at one time.
Right.
Although I think they probably would take that, but.
All those
All
heads
3
nod
of
back
them.
there. Yeah, they're like, yeah.
We know that's not
All the way.
financially realistic, so.
Right, understood. You're back up, Landy. Sorry.
No, absolutely. Thank y'all for having me this morning. Real quick, I did want to talk about the system as a whole, and I mean the City of Temple first responder system. I won't take up too much time on this, but a couple of weeks ago, there's a gentleman named Adam Beard. He retired as a chief here several years ago. He was working out at the summit on the elliptical, and he passed out. A man behind him named Paul Stewart. What did I say the first guy's name was? I've already screwed this up.
Adam Beard.
Adam Beard. Okay, good. I got that right, man. I'm nervous. I had a long night. I had an early morning. But anyway, Adam Beard passed out. A man named Paul Stewart behind him noticed that he had passed out. Paul Stewart is a driver of ours that has retired several years ago. He pulls him off the elliptical, starts doing CPR. This is at the summit, by the way. Does CPR on him. Staff gets an AED that we have provided, we have funded. They do CPR on him with staff. The AED does one shock, brings him back. He goes to the hospital. Excuse me. PD, fire, ambulances arrive. He's awake and alert. He's talking. We get a chance to be there because one of our other chief officers that now works in Gerald has called us directly and said, "That's Chief Beard. Y'all need to go see him." And anyway, so we get there. He's talking. He recognizes us. We tell a joke. And he goes to the hospital. And I can say all this now. I've gotten permission, but has a quintuple bypass and is slated to go home sometime this weekend. And I just wanted to say, as a city, that is amazing, and that is what we're supposed to be doing. And I think we can be proud of ourselves. We have retired members that are still part of our, still citizens in a city facility with a city-funded AED, with city responders saving his life. So I
So
just wanted to.
disheartening, though, that he was working out and he fell out.
He's-
you know?
he-
He was
we
doing all the
always-
right stuff, you know?
We always see him there, right? But there's those things that there's those family history things that you can't quite beat with exercise and diet sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
It's
we're
good to pick our
very
parents.
proud of that. I'm very proud of this city for being able to. Adam Beard did not have a small influence in my career here, so it's very special to me that we were able to
That's a great
take care of
story.
him.
While we're talking about funding, it's cool if this council had not have funded that AED, he may not be here.
Yep.
That's-
Absolutely. Okay.
Right.
So, I feel like I may have not done the assignment right because all my stuff's for 27. That being said, we'll get started and we can sort it out at some other time, I suppose. So this is a summary of our priorities. I'm just going to go ahead and go through them, and we'll talk about each one of them. So Fire Station 7 relocation and construction. This is already in the plan. We have already pretty much completed design. So what we are intending to do, as I'm sure y'all know, is relocate Station 7 out west past 317 in the Kleinite-Adams area, Kleinite and Adams Road area. Excuse me. So that relocation, one of the things we were kind of waiting on was to see if that relocation would cause problems back towards the interior of the city, back towards the loop and everything. We did some mapping and we think that it's going to be okay. We're also going to be able to pick up some areas to the west. It looks like we're going to pick up some of that densely populated, I think that's Windmill Farms to the north, some of that a little better, be able to respond a little quicker there, and some areas to the south. The other thing that's going on at Station 7 is an older station. We haven't really done a whole lot of remodeling there. That being said, PD is taking over the west side of that station, and it's going to be for a PD purpose. They also have some larger vehicles that they need some indoor storage from. So the quicker that fire can move out of that station and move into into a new station over there off of Kleinite, I think the better off we all are as a first responder system. This came in a little bit too small. I don't know if do y'all see this on y'all's screens?
Yeah, we'll get it.
Okay. So we asked GIS to do a 5-minute map for us, and this has like all of the stations that you can see. But the purple starred dash line is where we're saying, or where they're saying that 7 would pick up some coverage, and the blue, solid blue, is what the coverage of current Station again, moving out west, if we were to come towards the city, if we were to come east towards the city, we also have 8 and 5 that can support us. As we go out west, the 7 ends up being on an island, so if we can position them a little bit further out there for a quicker response that way, we think it works out. And we think we're okay moving forward with Station 7, even without having to build Station 9 concurrently, which was one of the concerns we were looking at.
That's great. You get a lot farther out there.
All right.
So minimum staffing for Squad 4. This is one that we have been looking at for a while. Station 4 does remain the busiest single unit station, so we have Engine 4 running out of there. We also have some other stations that are busier. Station 3 and Station 1 are busier, but they have either a rescue or a squad running in conjunction with a truck out of those areas. We generally look at how many calls the station runs, and once they get to a minimum of an average of 200 calls, we really start looking at adding a second responder unit out of that station. And that is where we are at with Station 4. Where Station 4 is currently located, it also puts them on a bit of an island. Station 1 and Station 3 have to cross some major thoroughfares to get there. And I don't know if anybody's ever tried to go from 3's district to like South 31st Street, but you really have two ways. You can come out to the loop, or you can try to snake around in Forest and those areas back there. It's not a very quick response. So the other thing that this would do is this would allow us to have what we call 2 in, 2 out should a fire incident occur in 4's district, and we would be able to have that 2 in, 2 out a lot quicker. And what all that is that is a safety guideline from NFPA saying that if you have 2 people dedicated to fighting fire interiorly, that you have 2 people on the outside ready to effect rescue. Currently, we don't get that. So there are cases with a life safety issue that we would go ahead and enter the structure, but 2 in, 2 out is an important concept for us and firefighter safety. Also, and I think this is the last thing here, but future staffing of Station 10. So these personnel, which the staffing would be a driver and a firefighter on each shift, so 3 of each. That staffing would move over to Station 10 once it gets built, so we would only have to hire a captain in that case, and Station 10 is supposed to be South 31st 93 area, so that would help out with those isolation issues. Current Station 4, 4-minute map.
4 is the southern
Oh, wait,
roads. I
hang
think
on.
we've
Can you
said
go
that
back?
a few times, right? As we continue to grow south and then south and west, it's really making those trips quite a bit longer, I guess. Response time, that's what I'm looking for.
And certainly as those, especially down old 95, I always get 95 and 93 confused. Just never been good with numbers.
Me too.
I apologize. But as we go further down south towards Little River Academy, those responses, as those areas get dense, we have some trouble getting down there. And we would with 2 units.
Alan, I can see your house from here. Paseo del Plata, right there.
Station 4 is my go-to station. Like usually get to my house in less than 3 minutes.
Oh, I'm around the corner too from 5, so.
I like the relocating 7 shows they get to my house faster than current 7s. So
Just making everybody happy.
That's right.
All right, so construction of Fire Station 9. We're locating this on Old Waco Road and Old Waco Lane, not to be confusing. So our proposed, it's proposed to be staffed in 2029. We go ahead and like to get started on construction. The continuation of design and construction, so we can be ready to staff that station in 2029. We do have I knew I was going to forget this word, but we promised we would order a fire truck, and that should be here in 28. What is the term for that from finance?
Back order.
Intent to order, or intent to purchase, thank you.
And then intent to reimburse.
Very good intentions to buy
Is this, we have construction for 9 on here to rate, but not the staffing, do they go together, or am I missing?
This is the operating cost associated with Station 9. So this is gonna be the staffing, the electricity,
So
the,
this,
really,
this is,
yes, it did, and same with Station 7 that Landy covered. This is the operating cost associated with the construction of those stations, not the capital itself.
Okay.
So apologize for that confusion.
So Old Waco Road and Old Waco Lane. Yeah. Are we ever gonna get one name for Old Waco, Old Howard research?
Yes,
when we just start calling
Yes.
it outer loop, then it'll,
yes, yes. That's something
What's
we
it
are
gonna
working
be?
on.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it's all outer loop. It's
Old
outer loop,
research
Waco
Howard's Way?
Yes.
Is that?
No.
No, okay.
I like that, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Lane. Who's Howard, why does he get it?
I know, who is Howard? Sorry.
So, this is, the reason that the station, the station's gonna be a lot bigger. It's gonna be more like a central station out on the west side. One of the reasons that we're doing that is we wanna house some administrative staff out there as we continue to grow. The fire marshal's office is intended to move out to this area, as well as, most of our special operations on the ops side of what we do. This is a 5-bay station that will house, Battalion 2, which should come on this year, a ladder truck, and, most of our special operations equipment, not all, because we want that redundancy, but a lot of that special operations equipment.
We get another pole?
I'm sorry?
Do we get another pole?
It's being designed as a single story, so that would be a little awkward. But, if, hey, it works. We do what we can. I don't know if you can see on your maps, but, there's a, doesn't work on the TV, does it? But there's, the area where I think that's Jupiter right there. Y'all can see Old Waco Road and Old Waco Lane on that map. There's supposed to be some development in there to the east that's supposed to be pretty dense, and that will help us cover that area, down south and back to the east towards Station 5. That's a ladder truck where we don't currently have a ladder truck on that side of town. Closest one is either 1 or 3, depending on where you are specifically. Okay. Coverage firefighters. So not long ago, we found that maybe we were a little understaffed when it came to being able to reach minimum staffing consistently. So what we had to do was we had to force people to work. So in the fire service, we have a concept called minimum staffing. So right now, it is 30 people. It will move up by the end of this year because of our battalion chiefs and those accountability officers that go with them. But what that means is if you don't get relieved, you don't go home. That was happening a lot. I don't have an exact number for you, and I apologize for that. But what we started doing was incorporating coverage firefighters into our staffing plan so we could get out from under forcing people to work. Obviously, that is that's a pretty big morale killer, especially when you have now I'm working another 24 hours and I have a day with my family, whatever day that ends up being, and now I have to come back to work. So we have continued to put these coverage firefighters in our staffing plans. These coverage firefighters are slated for 27. We are requesting that they stay in 27. It may seem like a lot of folks, but we have people on vacation. We have to let people off on vacations. People get sick. We have TIFMAS programs, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but an interstate mutual aid system. We have guys in military, things like that. So we do kind of run up against this minimum staffing level a little bit more than we like to, and this is a way that we can combat that. And also, when we are able to staff over minimum, we were able to staff additional trucks or put additional people on our ladder trucks or our blocker truck, for instance, that enable us some extra capabilities for a shift or so.
We've heard from a number of the spouses, this is very important to them. They're missing their people at home, you know.
So we're right at that 3-to-1 ratio right now. So if we add the squad that we've just talked about at Station 4, we'll be over the ratio again. So to keep that, these really should be married together to keep that ratio correct. Because you're gonna be adding 6 additional officers, so you would need to add 3, and then you would have capacity for 3 more. But before you would need to add again, but ideally, you would stay ahead, not behind. So
Yep.
this is really kind of paired with that Station 4 staffing.
And generally speaking, as far as with the overstaffing, I mean, you're not making 2 of them work at the same time, so you're saving overtime really is, how much is it costing in the budget to do this? Am I making sense?
You are making sense. There is a link between overtime and coverage firefighters. We have not, at this point, have not felt comfortable reducing overtime budget to fund these positions because we're still finding that the overtime budget is needed there. But I think that's an area that, we can ask Chief Perez and Landy and Kirby to help look into and see, what options we have there. But as you might remember, we added a pretty significant amount to the overtime budget last year, even as we had already added coverage firefighters a few months earlier. So there should be a relationship, but
That's
we're
what I'm thinking.
and fire overtime in particular is pretty complex because of their schedule. They have built-in overtime to comply with the Fair Labor Standards Act. Even if you had everybody on staff, nobody was sick, nobody took a vacation, you are going to have overtime because of the way that their shifts work. They work more than what equates to 40 hours a week or 80 hours a paycheck. So on certain weeks, so they're gonna have overtime. So it's a
I guess that's just the way the schedule falls, I guess, because they have to come back to work before the 2 weeks are over or the week's over sometimes, right? They've already got one 40-hour shift and they don't necessarily need to wait 5 days to do another one, so.
Yes, sir.
That's how you're gonna always have some overtime.
Yeah, it's complicated, very complicated.
That makes sense.
But they have, your work here is 2,812 hours?
2912.
4912, just about 100. And that's where the FLSA overtime comes in. And one thing to note on your TIFMAS, part of that reimbursement covers your backfill of the positions too.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, Landy covered that well at the ESAB meeting the other night about how we do get reimbursed for TIFMAS even for our vehicles and stuff, right?
Yep, there is an amount of money per unit hour depending on the type of unit that we get reimbursed for. But, yeah, I'll think about that here.
So you're right that there should be a relationship between coverage firefighters and overtime, but because of the complex nature of overtime in the fire
There's still
department,
some.
we want to make sure that we have a really good handle on that before we would recommend an actual reduction in the overtime budget to compensate for additional firefighters. Although that could eventually be something that we could recommend once the staffing stabilizes a little bit.
But this should help, we should be able to at some point help alleviate more overtime than is necessary.
Especially if you keep this, if you keep the the right ratio, then yes, it absolutely should reduce overtime over the long term.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mean,
Is to
and part of
avoid
it's also-
people having to work overtime.
Also not to make them have to work when they don't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the job. They get that, just, especially there for a little bit, kind of late this year, that was happening frequently.
Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes, happens in my industry too, but
Right.
it's bad when somebody has a vacation with their family planned and whoops, you can't go. Or some event, and they can't leave, so yeah, if we
That's
can
really
help
good.
alleviate that, then.
Yes, sir.
Having to do it sometimes is different than having to
A
do
lot.
it, almost always, yeah.
Yes.
Conversations with the association, that's an important topic for them.
That's why I'm hitting on it so much, because yes,
All right, second set of turnout gear. So we do currently have a plan to get all of our firefighters a second set of turnout gear. The reason why this is important is as scientific studies come back, they're showing a positive link between the products of combustion, which are embedded in our soiled bunker gear that we have to wear to fight fire. We use it as PPE while we were cutting people out of cars. Any number of things, any reason why we would have that bunker gear on. If it is soiled, then that increases risk for cancer. So one of the, like I said, y'all have approved a plan to replace this bunker gear. I'm sorry, to get second sets of bunker gear over the course of 3 years. We are asking to accelerate that to where we can go ahead and complete that this next fiscal year. There's also some things coming down from the state that they're also associated with our National Fire Protection Association standards that are going to require us to take actions after that bunker gear has been soiled in a fire, which essentially includes, like, we'll have to put that bunker gear in a airtight sealed container if it's going to ride in the cab with us for the rest of the shift. Right now, if you only have one set of bunker gear, that's where your bunker gear would have to go. We do have extractors at the station, but then you have to wash that and dry it, and it really becomes a situation where you have to find somebody else's bunker gear or something else. It becomes a very, very complicated thing. So I hope I've done a good enough job of explaining that. But yeah, the big thing kind of driving this is we don't want to end up in a situation where we are having somebody, I don't know, in a tote or a gigantic Ziploc bag dragging their soiled bunker gear around and then have to put it back on for another fire that they have that shift. Or any other issue that they have that shift.
Are there any grant opportunities to help with this cost? It seems like gear might be something that would qualify.
So the real answer is I don't know. We haven't got a chance. Trying to be honest, I just don't know.
Okay.
We can explore that. I don't believe that it was something that we had explored when Chief Randalls was there, and just to give you an excuse, hadn't had the time to really explore.
Sure, no, I get that. People are more difficult to get grants for, but sometimes items, gear could be something. Maybe you could talk to the police, see if they can get their new grant assistant that,
Testing's gonna help me out.
yeah, crossover.
Be a double grant assistant.
Yeah, that's right.
Could be public safety.
Yeah.
This is a recurring cost in a way because these bunker gear sets last for 10 years and then they have to be replaced. So we're needing to make sure everybody first has a second set, but then we'll also need to, on an
Replace.
ongoing basis, double our replacement budget because instead of just one set per firefighter being replaced, we'll need 2 sets replaced. So it is something that we need to plan for over the long term because you can only use them for 10 years maximum.
Got it.
And you said they're not like, sometimes they actually rip them or tear them or
We'll have to
something.
send
so
them
you
off
have-
to a contractor to get replacement generator for Station 6. So the current generator doesn't, really the deal is that the current generator doesn't run the HVAC. So I don't know, I just saw Austin walk in. I don't know if you'd be, yeah, I just called you out. You walked in. So I'll just say, like, when we were there, when we have to try to operate there, when we have adverse weather conditions, operating there without a HVAC, sometimes or all the time is not an ideal situation. So a lot of times we'll bring that unit back down to Central to run out of Central. We would like to upgrade this, and get it to where a generator would, run the entire building, just like it does in most of our other stations. I do think we have some stations where it's still, their generator doesn't run everything. But that's the request here. Kind of a ongoing thing that we'll have to talk about is Station 6 is now in a place where they're gonna have some access issues getting to the loop, or certain portions of the loop, getting to the interstate. And then if they, going north on Range Road, if you go north on Range Road now, the way the loop is, you will have to turn under and go back to, you'll have to turn right, go under the bridge by the railroad tracks, and then head back west before being able to turn back around in Winland. If you go south, trying to get to the interstate, you have the railroad tracks that are over industrial that are frequently used. So we have kind of identified that Station 6 is in now a poor spot, and we really need to consider what we're gonna do with that station moving forward. That's not part of this request. I would say, though, if there is interest in moving that station, that if we're going to, if we're gonna upgrade this generator, there's a time, I think it's between 3 and 5 years, that we should, but if we're looking at relocating that station, long after, I'm sorry, if we're looking at replacing the station long after 5 years, we should go ahead and replace the generator. If that's something that the city is interested in moving quicker than that, then maybe we hold off on this. That makes sense?
Yeah, I think Range Road has 2 sets of tracks over there. It's tricky.
All right, an additional squad for wildland and TIFMAS deployments. So, when I was giving this presentation to department heads, I was like, I don't know what TIFMAS means. We go out and we put water on stuff for the state, but it is the Texas, oh God, don't tell me I just forgot it again. Texas, God almighty. Interlocal Fire Mutual Aid System. Thank you, ma'am. See, there's a reason I'm not the fire chief. And that's the problem.
Just the interim.
Yeah.
Go get these acronyms down.
I know, if I could just, I think I know what TDM is, but I'm not even gonna try to say it now. We are looking for an additional squad, to help out with the TIFMAS program, and, the TIFMAS program is a system that we are involved in, that we will get deployed. Our people will get deployed, and sometimes our units will get deployed on a TIFMAS deployment. Usually these are for like grass fires or fire danger, high fire danger, incidents. Sometimes they are for, general emergencies, or, things like water rescue, all hazards. We have some deployments on that. But, our people in our units are, reimbursed for these deployments. There are a lot of good things that have to do with these, involved with like getting our guys experience. Again, the backfill is repaid for, so we're able to pay our guys a little bit more. The interlocal workings, because they're working directly in teams with other departments and everything like that. So we think that this is overall a good program, and we would like to have a unit that, I'm gonna say dedicated, to this, but even when it's not being deployed by TIFMAS, it is a unit that stays here that we can use here for whatever we need it for. So that would be essentially a brush truck is what we're asking for in this particular case.
So it's really just this amount is just a brush truck? Or,
That $160,000 is a Texas.
but if we have the crew, can that same crew be part of the overstaffing
So, and that's kind of, when I talked about the additional staffing earlier, the coverage firefighters, this would be one reason why they would be here. We don't associate crews with this unit particularly. It's just a unit that is available for calls out in the state. That, like if we got deployed today, this unit would go on that with whatever personnel
So
we
it's,
send with them.
so the crew is not Joe, Bill, and Sue, it's some people pulled from the department.
It is. We have a team together that have grasp training or several areas of training, right, depending on what the state needs that we would send with this particular unit.
How often does that happen?
I would say in the summer months, it happens very often. We have a team deployed, I don't want to give you a percentage, but over half the time easily. I would venture a guess more than that.
Is this what's done at Pepper Creek before July 4th?
That's the training. This is training for those guys, yes.
Okay.
And this is where this truck, we get reimbursed when we use it.
Correct.
So we have to cover the cost if we're not, I mean, if it's just sitting there and not being used, but when it's getting used, so it's not the full price totally.
Yeah, I mean, so I would think that over the course, over the lifespan of the unit, it would be possible that the unit would get paid for by reimbursement of TIFNIS funds. I'm not an accountant, obviously, so I don't know how all that.
Some of it
works,
will be,
but-
and sometimes it's not gonna be used, so, but we can say that about any of our trucks.
Except this is for state.
Specific, yeah. And we don't get reimbursed when we send our trucks to
best
a
friends.
fire town, so.
Well, it's just, and what we talked about at the department head retreat is, you know, we definitely, like, this is a good program, and we definitely wanna be in a position to offer mutual aid. But we just have to be cautious about how we prioritize, making sure we're getting what we need to take care of our own. You know, our primary focus has got to be on our own community and then on the ability to help, at the state level. And, you know, the state has made that more difficult for us.
As an old flight attendant, you put on your mask first and then put on the other mask.
And just so I can say this, we do decline TIFMIS deployments when staffing does not work.
Yeah.
So we don't just send them out regardless. There's a process, and if we don't have the staffing.
Other neighboring communities have the same, so Belton, in that case, would step in?
So, yeah, so there's a regional team, and so in that team, I know it's us. I think Belton has some folks. I know Colleen and Harker Heights have folks, and I'm not exactly sure who else is in the region. I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, so what happens is there's a call to the region, and the regional bosses, ours is Marking with the East County Chief with us, gets together the resources that we would have available, and then out of those resources, out of the area, then they come up with a plan for staffing and what units are gonna go out of that group of resources that we've identified.
And this is separate and apart from our local mutual aid agreements that we have individually with the surrounding departments where, we provide aid and receive aid from our immediate neighbors. This is typically deploying to someplace not adjacent to us, where there's a large fire or something happening and they're bringing resources from across the state. So this is over and above our local mutual aid agreements that we maintain with our surrounding neighbors.
So, have you ever made a mistake? I have. I showed this presentation to Chief Perez, and the first thing he did when I came to, this was originally 9, the first question he asked me is, why is this 9? And I said, well, there's a whole history of the department that I could go through to tell you why it was 9, but what I've been in discussion with Chief Perez and what we've been able to identify, even with some conversations that happened a couple weeks, is this should be top 5 probably for us realistically. Anyway, so battalion chief over professional standards. So as the department grows, we are putting more and more on to our existing chief officers. That's myself. That's mostly Chief Bush, frankly. So we get more people, we get more equipment, more bunker gear that we need to have, all those things, more vehicles. Chief Bush essentially does the tracking and the maintenance, and he doesn't actually do the maintenance, he does the coordination of the maintenance, vehicles, apparatus, equipment, all those types of things. He's about to have three more direct reports to go on top of that, with the 3 battalion chiefs that we're putting on at the end of this year. So, all that is currently shared between the chief officers, but again, mostly him. Sorry, Kirby. But anyway, one of the things that we're asking for is a battalion chief over professional standards to take some of these duties off of him, and this would be somebody who handles logistics, getting vehicles back and forth to where they need to be. If they need to go to Round Rock or Tulane or up to Freightliner to be repaired, if we need to run equipment out the station, supplies, equipment supplies. But even outside of that, some of the things we've identified, and this is where I was talking with Chief Perez, is as far as the professional standards side, we have OGs that we try to keep up with, but we're just having a hard time with the current staffing that we have upstairs. Reporting, some of the reporting that we do is probably not as helpful as we would like it to be. I think one of the things Chief Randalls did a good job is he came and reported to y'all maybe quarterly or maybe biannually. But a lot of that information is good information, right? You know how many calls, we're reaching our, we're increasing our call volume. So that should tell you that, maybe we need some more people, maybe all this. But what we're not telling you and what we're having a hard time reporting is whether or not we're meeting key performance indicators. And we have not done a great job of identifying those and reporting those to you. And what I mean by that, are we getting trucks to places on time? Are we getting out of the stations on time? Are we getting EMTs and ambulances to calls in a time that is generally accepted by our national standards? This position would help with that. We don't have disciplinary issues or anything like that. We're the fire department. We're all good guys, right? But when we do have something, we don't have a professional standards person to make sure that a write-up is consistent with policy. We just kind of take the write-up and assume that it was all good because nobody has, I don't want to say nobody has the time, but we have time that is dedicated to other things that makes these priorities very, very difficult to get on top of. I don't know if I've done a good job of explaining that very well, but there is just a need for another chief officer position that we can build from in our department and build down other positions that will take care of logistics, that will take care of personnel, that will take care of equipment and station maintenance and all those kind of things. We're running a little on fumes upstairs. By the way, this was Business Plan 29. We are requesting it now. Oh, and accreditation would be the other thing. We'd really like to get accredited, and we're having trouble getting to those pieces where we can make that, where we can get that information and make that jump to be an accredited department through best practices, Texas best practices. Okay, I feel like I've gone way, way long, and I apologize. Replacement for a 2009 F-350 vehicle. This will be, this is in the business plan for this year. This will be Squad 4, long and short of it. We have asked, or we have talked to Sherry about if we can't staff the TIFMAS vehicle, maybe this one can stick around a little bit to be our TIFMAS vehicle. And really, that is the ask. What this unit will do is we will replace this with a squad unit consistent to kind of what we already have at Station One. And we will, anyway, it'll just be more purpose-built, rather than this, which we call the Tippin Squad, for a lot of different reasons. But this vehicle, it currently hauls some of our trailers. The new vehicle won't, it'll have a skid in the back, and it'll be used first out for medical response at Station 4.
That's a pretty old vehicle. How many miles does it have on it?
It doesn't have a lot. I think it's sub 70,000 miles on it, and which is why we'd like to hold on it for TIFMAS if
Sure.
we're not gonna get it, if we're not gonna get a TIFMAS vehicle.
Does do the TIFMAS vehicles have some sort of equipment requirement?
They do.
And does this F-350 already meet that?
So we, it currently, this one does currently, yes. We go out on this one with TIFMAS when we're not using it for other things. Again, it goes to that, what do we have to deploy? And if this isn't deployable, we don't deploy it.
Thank you.
All right. One of the other things we're asking for, out at the training center, one of the things we've identified throughout the city is we are building 4-story, 3-story apartment complexes, hotels, motels, and they have an interior stairwell. We've identified this as a gap in our training. Our training tower does not have a stairwell that allows us to train for the types of fires or for the type of connections, water connections that we would have to make in this vehicle, or in this type of building. So what we're asking is to add an exterior stairwell to the training tower, so that we could add this to our training repertoire, for lack of a better word. It'd be exterior, so we could also use it for other types of training, which see there is high-angle training where we'd be able to take somebody off of a stairwell, these types of things.
So does it just go up one side or around
It
or?
would just go up on the east side of the structure, where it kind of the area that points towards the fake station or the training station. All right, and our last thing is, we're asking for an additional staff vehicle. And this staff vehicle wouldn't be assigned to anybody, it would just be there for those things, like we run logistics, we run training, we have, I'm sorry, I said we run training, of course we run training. We send people to training, and sometimes those people that go to training have to have a staff vehicle. And when we give them one of our staff vehicles, that just means that our staff now has to go look for a vehicle. The same thing, we'll send people to do TIFMAS trade-offs, so that vehicle may be out of town. We'll go pick somebody up. We'll go pick somebody up from out of town and bring them back. I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling right now. Just having an extra vehicle in town to run and get stuff, having an extra vehicle to send people to training in so they don't have to use their own personal vehicles, especially if we have a group of them. Sending people to around the stations to drop things off. I'm gonna stop talking now, 'cause I don't even think, I'm not even making sense to myself. But yeah,
You're doing good, Lindy.
Yeah, you are.
I think that's the last thing, obligatory firefighter picture. And that's it. Do we have any questions from y'all?
No, go get some sleep.
I certainly appreciate y'all putting up with me. It's been a week. But thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Laney.
Thank you.
Brenda, I have a question from the police chief. Do we still, the generator, number 6, kind of reminded me of this, but do we still have substations? Like, we had one at Renata Square. Do we still have those around town?
Yes, ma'am. We still have the substation at Renata Square, and we also have a substation at Canyon Creek Townhomes.
And those aren't staffed,
They're not staffed,
there.
they're just there for the district officers to be able to go to those locations, We have technology there so that they can set in those locations and do reports, et cetera. So it just keeps them in those district areas and not needing to go all the way back to the PD to do reporting and stuff. So if something happens, it's a quicker response than having to go from the PD all the way back down, say to Canyon Creek or back out to, the east side. They can respond from those substations.
Has that been a deterrent for issues?
I think the added presence, has been helpful in those communities, to keep those officers, and just having the vehicle when the officers are in those facilities working, just having their vehicles seen in those areas serves as somewhat of a deterrent.
Okay, thank you.
Where's Renata's quick?
Wayman Manor.
Okay, sounds good. Let's
Good
go.
morning.
Good morning.
Customer care. So I will start with just like an overview of what our programs are and the services that we offer. I'll be really quick. I think I have 4 priorities up here to show you today, so we'll move kind of quick. 3 programs under the customer care department. What we call customer care, or it's basically our customer service, which is the utility billing office, payment and collections for utility billing, and then our fairly new 311 call center. You guys are familiar with that. Next program is utility billing, which is our billing and collections and water metering. And then our newest program, solid waste service delivery support. So if you'll remember back in October, we took that customer service team for solid waste under our department. So they are responsible for solid waste customer support and then solid waste commercial billing. A little bit more about the customer care and solid waste partnership. So from the customer care and service delivery teams, that program focuses more on just the customer experience and coordinating the service. And then Justin's team in solid waste operations is the field operations and the execution of that service. For FY26, just a few of our numbers here. This is for the first 7 months. In the utility business office, we have processed as of April 30th, it was almost 6,000 new accounts. So of course that's not new builds and new homes, but that's people moving from one address to another. They're processed the same from a utility customer service standpoint. And then over 32,000 phone calls handled. Metering, we had 619 additional meters, so those are your new builds or new taps where we set new water meters. So that is in addition to our meter inventory that's in the field. And then solid waste service delivery, we are working on automating the service request process. A lot of that has been done on paper with paper tickets and handwritten and handing to the field, which goes to a truck. And so we're working on automating service requests and then commercial roll-off billing process improvements. For the call center team, we have had over 16,000 first call resolutions, and what that means is this team has handled over 16,000 calls that we didn't have to send to a department. So that it wasn't a request for service, it was more informational, or somebody might have thought they needed a service and we were able to resolve that with one call to us. We have a 95% increase in the self-service usage, so that's our TTX Connect portal and our mobile app. Those numbers aren't super high, but they're growing, and I'll show you kind of a chart here in a minute. And then we've centralized the coordination of almost 25,000 service requests. So those are I need to report a pothole, there's a dog loose, I need to schedule brush in bulk. And that is 24,000 through both agent scheduled and then the self-service usage. And over 17,000 brush and bulk pickups that have been scheduled and coordinated. And I think Justin pointed out also, but I would also like to point out that with our teams working together on this, we have had a 100% on-time scheduled pickup. It's working. Here are those interaction channels where I was talking about the self-service. So agent handled interactions is on the top. And then the self-service usage is on the bottom. So agent handled is mostly phone, but we do have live agent chat and SMS. We get some by email. There's a few that are internal requests that come to us. The agents handle those, and then the self-service on the bottom. Just another snapshot of what Brush and Bulk looks like, and you've probably seen this in Judge Justin's presentation, but these are the requests by month for this fiscal year. So average monthly, almost 2,500. And then for FY '27, we are implementing new billing software for utility billing. And then, of course, just continued growth as more customers. Metering, that continued customer growth is continued workload for the metering department. 311 call center, again, the growth and Brush and Bulk, that has not been, the news on demand scheduling has not been live for a year yet. And so we're heading into our busy months, and I look for that to really pick up here over the next 3 months. And then solid waste service delivery, implementation of improved commercial billing process. That's going to go in hand with the utility billing implementation. We're going to try to get, those are handled separately and in 2 different billing systems, and we are going to bring those together into one billing system. This is a picture of our org chart as we are proposing it for FY '27. The items that I have in green are the personnel changes. 2 are additions and 1 is just a reclass. So I won't have a slide that shows the solid waste delivery team change, but all we're asking to do is to reclassify one of the service delivery agents or CSR to a team leader, and that's to align with the rest of our programs in our department. So for 27 personnel requests, we have a community solutions specialist. That is the TTX Connect or 311 call center agent. And then a utility billing coordinator. Right now in utility billing for approximately 38,000 water meters, we have 1 billing specialist and a manager. That one didn't make the top list on the leadership priorities, but the community solutions did. So we are asking for those 2 positions to be considered. And then technology and facility request. The TTX Connect portal and app were built, our current implementation partner was Salesforce. They built the app and the website for us on a proprietary solution, and we're asking to move that to the Salesforce solution, which is our CRM, our customer relationship management, so that it's in one place and easier for us to manage. We don't have to rely on that implementation partner for support going forward.
Can you go back a few slides to show the use of the app versus the call-ins?
Yes.
Just started using the app fairly recently for the
A year.
pickup.
For Brush and Bulk,
Brush and
yes,
Bulk.
back in August when it changed.
Is that a big part of that jump?
Yes. But most, as you can see, most people still want to call and talk to somebody. I think we all think that people would rather use the app and the portal, and we try to push that, market that, but people still call. And I think as people get more accustomed to having to call the Brush and Bulk, or use that schedule, that we'll see an increase in self-service. Once they know it works, they've talked to somebody and they know what the expectations are, and I know it works, I think we'll see an increase in that.
Does the app usage justify the $200,000 cost? I guess that's really up for us to decide. But
I think if we can focus some efforts on marketing that more and pushing it more. Right now, when we look at agent-handled interactions, we have 4 agents, and I know we talked about this before, but we take an average of, it's like 200 interactions a day. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
And especially when one day last week we had 2 agents out, 1 planned, 1 unexpected, so I had 2. So then we're pulling from utility business office and everybody, even Melissa Reyes has jumped on the phone a few times so that we make sure we keep our call queue down. So I think if we can work to push that more, and again, as that grows and people trust the process, that they'll use that more.
Is the top one agent handled or the bottom one?
The top one is agent handled.
What are the hours? 8 to 5?
Yes, sir.
Standard?
We follow the regular city
Yeah, yeah.
hours.
I thought, I just wasn't sure.
I saw that backwards earlier because I can't, the colors are the same, so why the big jump in March of the agent handled ones? 'Cause I thought a while ago that was the app.
Probably brush and bulk. Let me
because
look
it's
at,
spring.
yeah, if you look at the brush and bulk numbers from February to March, the request on the right.
But they have to, during that, did you have to pull people in just because of the amount?
Yes.
Not because somebody was out?
Not because of what, I'm sorry?
Not because somebody was out or anything, you had to pull people in just to help do that many?
No, if I have all four of them, they've been able to handle it
And they could handle that?
so far, yeah. But as we continue to grow,
Goes up.
there, last Monday, we had 475 phone calls. Not just interactions, not service requests, but just phone calls.
How
And I
much-
had 3 agents.
How much do those agents have to deal with the app request?
They don't.
So that's out of,
No.
if we get them to the app, they're out of,
Right. The brush and bulk, we still review those as they come in before we put them on the schedule because they have to qualify for the pickup and that needs to be done by a person. We look at the utility billing account to see if they have an active account and they qualify for the pickup. So those are still reviewed, but that's.
by these agents? By by the phone call agents? Who reviews them? If they come in on the app of brush and bulk?
Someone that helps with that team. It's actually, we've pulled a utility billing agent to help with brush and bulk so that the frontline call center agents. It's okay. So that the frontline call center agents don't have to stop and vet those.
Okay.
King either. Is it? Oh, there.
But so if the more we shift to the app, that saves personnel.
I think it'll just level out. But again, we hope to increase the usage of the call center and the app for more than just brush and bulk. And again, I think as the word gets out, we haven't done a huge push with the marketing team on the app and self-service because we wanted to make sure we can handle it first. Handle the volume of the things coming in. So.
I really love the 3-1, what's the number, 311? I love that they have that. Like somebody yesterday while we were in the meeting, a friend of mine asked, how do you get a hold of the dog catcher? And without me looking it all up, 311 will help you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It's been very nice to be able to pass out.
Good.
I don't have to,
We do have some business cards too that we can get you also that have a QR code they can scan to go straight to the mobile app too. It's got the phone in
that'd
it.
be helpful too.
Yeah.
But it's been, to me, instead of me having to say, go here and on the website and look up and find this and this, I've used a lot. Call 311, they'll help you get to the right
Yeah.
place. And that's been handy for a council member, I know.
Well, and if it's not something that is a city-related service, we're able to help push them to the right place. Somebody call about Bell County voting yesterday, and so we look it up for them and get them to. And the good thing about chat and text messaging is we can actually copy a link and text it back to them so they can just click on it from their phone. So if we find something we think would be helpful to them, instead of giving them information about county voting, we send them to the county site and let them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had an example of the opposite of that. I had some friends that lived in Belton, and they left town, left the state for a few years and moved back. And their address is Belton, but they live in Temple, and they kept calling Belton to get their water meter.
Oh,
Or their water turned on, and they called me, do you know anybody in Belton that can help me? I'm like, your house isn't in Belton.
Yeah.
They weren't telling them that, they were just saying.
We don't service
"We
it."
don't serve that address.
Yeah.
And so.
We get a lot of those
That-
for
that's-
East Bell County too, and so we're able to, we have a tool, and I couldn't tell you what it is, but my staff has a tool that they can look at an address and see who that water service provider is, and they
That's-
send it out.
That's awesome, because if that would've happened and they lived in Belton and we're calling Temple, then the fact that we have somebody to say, oh, no, we don't service that, but Belton does, and here's the phone number, that's cool.
Yeah, it's been helpful. Again, the ones yesterday that asked about the voting, I'm like, no, we don't have information on our system on it because it's not really ours, but now we do, right? So when customers call in, we're able to make the rest of our staff aware of things that we can help people with, by just being
I like that a lot.
brought aware. Yeah.
How is morale?
It's good.
Good.
Yeah. The busy days, they love the busy days. I mean, it goes by fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
I was sitting behind the solid waste customer care team at this week's Public Works luncheon, and they were so enthusiastic. They seemed very happy.
Yeah. When we took on that staff, it's a change, and I think they were uncertain of what was going on, and our current team was how are these teams going to work together, but it's really been a very positive thing. We've made some great positive changes in customer service on the solid waste side, as far as how they're handling processes and how they're working with the call center team directly. We've made some really good progress. That is all I have. So happy to answer any other questions.
Vacation.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Heather, I'm sorry, one more question. On the build-out, I guess moving the,
I did not talk about that.
well, moving the app to our CRM,
Yes.
couple $100,000 to do that.
To move it and then support for it going forward from Salesforce and the implementation. We were paying our old implementation partner to support it,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was a process to get something done. If something went down, or if there was an issue or we needed a change, it took a lot longer. And if we need something changed or brought down or up, we need it done right now. And moving it to that Salesforce CRM with this other implementation partner will give us better access to manage that.
So is that $200,000 throughout the business plan years? Or
That
it
is to
just to move it
move it and support it
for how long?
a year.
Okay,
But it won't cost that much
going forward.
year
Sure,
over year,
sure.
no.
What's the cost difference between the, do you know what the current partner is being paid, the one that's supporting it now? I guess, is that $200,000, is that a net after the savings of not paying the other vendor?
The other vendor, we were paying about $6,000 a month.
Okay,
And we have, I'm trying to say how to say this.
Haven't
We
been
don't want to
through-
use that partner anymore.
I understand.
And we have found a better partner that aligns more with what we're trying to do.
Yep.
The other one was, it was putting a lot of it back on us.
Okay.
And we're not Salesforce architects, and we're not website managers.
Right.
We being my team.
okay.
And so that was putting a lot of it back on us, and we were having to pay them, and we were paying them and not really getting the results that we wanted. This other is more 311 focused instead of just Salesforce focused.
Okay.
So they understand our business and what our call center does. And when we're asking for something, they understand the use case. They understand what we need versus just what Salesforce can do, if that.
No, that makes total sense. And so that would end up being, instead of 194, 6,000 a month times 12 is 72. So that'd be more like $123,000.
Well, and this
one.
the new implementation partner, or the new partner going forward, I think it's 25,000 for the year for support.
So we get our money back in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
We're break even.
Yes. and I get things done much faster
That,
and better.
yeah, got it.
And we can control it from the Salesforce side.
Sounds good.
All right. The other thing I didn't put, I
moved it
didn't,
to a higher priority.
moved it to, perfect. It was one of the leadership priorities. So, one of the other things I didn't talk about that was on there was a build out of the first floor of utility billing. We've been in that building since 2009. I just skipped right over that. And we need to create some office space. And so we've worked with Austin. He came over and looked, and he's like, this whole, we have a lot of wasted open
Yeah.
lobby customer area that we could reduce to close in some office space in the back.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my turn. So my first ask is, a lot of my asks are just to maintain the current level of service that I'm providing today. So my first ask is for money for internet, for data to all facilities. This year, we're starting to move over to Segra, so there will be some cost savings with Spectrum and Astound, but not knowing what those savings are, because as they drop off and as these come on, this is the dollar amount for what it will cost for Segra for the year. The next ask is to continue our subscription with Ring Central, which will be our new phone system that we're implementing this year as well. So again, there'll be cost savings getting rid of our old phone system. This is just the startup cost for this year. My next ask is for additional funding for dues and subscriptions and maintenance costs. So these are increases and additions. So specifically, these asks for our Palo Alto firewalls are increasing because we're adding more. Fresh Service is our help desk software, and it's based on users. Horizon AI is what we use for penetration testing. And Cortex is our XDR, or our part of our security software, and then Proofpoint is security for email. So these are all increases.
So there are increases not to the subscription rate, but because of additional users?
Both, a little bit of both. Some of them have annual percentage increases that are obviously the higher the dollar amount, it gets more, and some of them are per user.
And these are just the increases.
These are just increases.
Not have a firewall, so
Right. Right.
I'm here for it.
And then, just briefly, I want to say, we also find savings in there. So we were talking about the phone system, and our current system is ShoreCare, so we will be saving $35,000 there. Our Ruckus, Zoom, so these are a lot of our per-user subscriptions. So we maintain at the end of every year, we go through and clean out users, those that maybe didn't get removed during the year, or those that had been transferred. With DocuSign, we purchased an excessive amount of envelopes last year because we did some HR documents. And so we're not going to do that this year. We're using Dayforce, so we can knock those off. So it's just, I guess, reconciliation. So there are some savings. That's what I wanted to show you.
If we rank the subscription and maintenance increases, that's taken into account the decrease, that's the
Yes, sir.
net there.
And then my reoccurring costs have also increased. Computers have greatly increased since we buy them every year. So we're on, our PCs specifically are on 5-year cycles. We buy X amount of laptops and desktops every year, and we replace them in 5-year cycles, but we keep them, do that throughout the year. So PCs have increased, video surveillance cameras have increased, UPS, all of the hardware has increased. So this is for increases for additional money for recurring replacements. And I just put a quick slide in here and what our cycle replacements are. They're industry standard. We use the same that everybody else uses. Also, we do find decreases throughout the year. Not a lot, but we do. One of our big pushes is to go to one device. We've had several employees with multiple devices, so for support-wise, it's obviously easier to support one device, and if you need to be mobile, you need a laptop versus a desktop. So we're making that push, but it's we're waiting for the cycle replacements to come due, so we're not unnecessarily replacing PCs. So it's gonna be a process. We're looking to move our Faster, which is our fleet software, to a hosted environment, which will decrease the cost, which is really weird because that never happens that way. It's usually more, but it does decrease. We're implementing Geotab this year, which is taking the place of CalAmp, which is the devices in our vehicles that track them. And then cellular activity, we eliminate phones and devices after I think it's 60 days of no activity. If we can't find where the device is because people trade them and do whatever, then we just shut it off and wait for them to come tell us that they still need it, so we can track it down that way. It sounds terrible, but it's hard to keep track of them all. Yeah, if nobody complains, we keep it up. And then obviously we reconcile our licenses every year. Data server, and I took Bryn's advice and took the center out of that just for the sake of wording. But we on cycle replacements, the data server and the storage area network at PD, we used to replace on 5-year cycles, and we have last year replaced at Fire 8 and City Hall. And we used to take those devices and refurbish them and put them in other places. Sherry was able to help us find the funding to not do that, so we can increase our replacement cycle from 5 to 8 years. So there's a savings there, although there's a big dollar amount on it. Switches and access points, it's again cycle replacements, but I separated these cycle replacements out from the others just because the number's so high. Geotab we talked about. These are the tracking devices that we're putting in vehicles. We're implementing this year, so we just want to maintain that to keep that level of service. Council chamber upgrades. So this has been a big topic of discussion for multiple departments, and working with Jennifer and Sherry, there may be some things that we can do this year, so this dollar amount probably is not accurate. But what I'm looking for is to replace this, the audio, the video. We need to do other things within this room, but I am just asking to replace the technology, the equipment in here.
Will that fix some of when people are not being able to hear and online and stuff?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the microphones going out?
Yes, so these batteries die. So if I used to have to replace them twice a meeting, we got new ones. Now I only have to replace it once. Well, now that the meetings are going much longer, I replace them often. But yeah, and the microphones up there are super old, and they're just not sensitive to pick you all up. I asked you guys to move up forward, which sucks, but it's just this old equipment. It hasn't been replaced, gosh, since I've been here in 9 years. So
Right there, you're talking anything electronic.
your technology and my equipment back here. Yes, ma'am.
And we do have available funds that are, it's revenue that's restricted just for, that we can use for the improvements.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that when some of my slides, I have technology funds in parentheses, and then here I have PEG funds, so those are just different funding sources that need to be noted. So there's like Tracy said, this is special funding.
Latest, I'm sorry, and cameras?
Will
'Cause I
be
know, like on YouTube, it's a little fuzzy, but
Yes, we are asking for replacement cameras as well. Yep, upgrades. I did not ask for any staffing, but instead I'm asking for hours to work with vendors, so getting their help, and they can help my staff, whether it's training my staff to do something or doing something for us. I'm asking for hours for consulting. So Esri, our GIS software, we purchased the Advantage program this year, and it's basically, they consult us. They go through all of our setup, all of our data, our versions, our hardware. They go through everything and give us recommendations on what we can do for better performance, to be more industry standard, whatever it is. They give us that advice, and then they help us implement those things. So we purchased it this year. We purchased it last year, not this 26, but I'm asking for it again in 27, just so that we stay current. Block of hours for Dayforce. Whenever we get new providers, we have to pay them to create links so that the softwares talk to each other. Niche, our police records management software, same thing. When we're still in the process of implementing, but we're to the point now where we're not considered in the implementation process, we're considered maintaining. So if there's any new integrations that we need, or there's any new tools that we need, we have to pay for them now. So I'm asking for money for that. And then Heather talked a lot about the Salesforce consulting hours. She's going to maintain, she's going to create this new site. This is for new functions and features if there's any integrations that can be had, so to get rid of all of the manual work. Financial software, I changed this for, Bryn corrected me. I think I had on the slide originally that was almost 20 years or nearly 20 years, and it's 20 plus years old. It's very, very old, and it's definitely time to replace it. And honestly, I hate putting this slide up there because I'm not looking forward to the work it's gonna take to get it done, but it needs to be done.
You're waiting for me to leave too, right?
No.
I've got that request from a couple people, actually. But it,
has to retire before Madeline can retire.
No new tricks for that one, right?
and my last request is for funding to clean up my network closets. We have several closets throughout the facilities. And today, some of them are key locked, some of them are not locked, some of them are janitor closet with mop buckets in them, some of them, we have a wide variety depending on what space we have and what we need to share. But I would like to clean that up and have door access and cameras on them. The cameras will help not just activity or movement, but also temperature. If any alarms go off, anything like that, it gives me alerts so that I can get ahead of it. And that's my last request. I just put up here that the majority of my requests are to maintain a current service level, and some are contractual obligations, multi-year contracts. I have questions.
Easy.
I'm trying to make it easy for you. I'm trying to make it easy and quick.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. General Services. Our core challenge for our department is capacity. We need more people. Facilities, we're maintaining 720,000 square feet of facilities, and you'll see this number come up on future slides. Administrative load-wise, with just the growth of our city, we've got increased transactions. And operationally impact by the fact that we're not keeping up, we're being very reactive, and it's exposing us to risk and extra costs, especially in the HVAC world too, is how that can impact us. So everything I'm gonna share with you today is fiscal year 27 requests, and I know that's not gonna be possible, but we are understaffed, and all of our requests are, we need more people. So this is our current org chart. We have Randy Hairston as one of our assistant directors, and she's primarily over the purchasing side. Austin Maxwell, I think you guys have met him, and he's here today. He was just recently promoted to assistant director. He has been just a life saver such an asset for our organization. We didn't have anybody on staff prior to Austin coming that really understood the operation and construction of a building inside and out. Don't get into landscaping with him, because that's not his thing. The pretty stuff, but he understands buildings. So if something goes wrong, he is going to have an idea on what's causing it, or he'll know how to dig into it to figure it out, and so forth. So this promotion to him as assistant director, so now he has some responsibility over facility services in addition to construction services, is just such a good thing for our city, our organization, and our department. So that fills a hole. So underneath Austin, he has our facility services division director, Tony Zavala, and underneath Tony, he's got facility maintenance, custodial services, and then one HVAC tech and one electrician. The one in bolded around it, that is not in there. So those are our new requests, are what you see kind of bolded there. Construction Services, Division Director, of course, Austin vacated that position, but he's still doing both in there. And then we've got 2 project managers below him currently. I'm recommending we really to properly serve and do justice to our projects like we need to. We really need to fill that Construction Services Division Director position, along with adding another project manager. The other thing that I've been asking for the last few years is an energy and efficiency program manager. Again, we've got all these buildings, but we have no energy policy. We have nobody overseeing the alarms that are going off. And so we don't hear about, even though we should be hearing about things and fixing them before they really happened, we don't have the staff to do it. So, and we recently have on board with this, which is being a great support for us, as an executive support coordinator. So we currently have 35 authorized positions. One is a part-time inventory specialist that we don't currently have, and we're not actively pursuing filling. So right now we do have 34 filled positions. Our number 1 priority when we defined this was to add a second HVAC tech. So we currently have 1 HVAC tech, and he is maintaining 54 buildings totaling 720,000 square feet. That includes, of that 720,000 square feet, we've got 8 buildings with large commercial units, and those are all those pictures off to the side there, if you recognize them. And that's going to increase to 11 buildings when we get the historic post office back online, along with the police training buildings. Those 2 buildings are going to have more complicated systems to them. In addition to those commercial units, we've got over 260,000 split units. So those are your residential type units. The majority of our facilities, the smaller ones, even some of the larger ones, including this building, is all serviced through those residential type units. So we are blessed to have right now, Phil Pham is his name. He's been with us not quite a year yet. He is outstanding. And he is outstanding on the larger units, which is even a greater blessing. But all that to say, he cannot keep up with all the square footage that we have. If you try to look at what a municipal kind of benchmark standard would be, you need 1 HVAC tech for every 100,000 to 150,000 in square feet. So we've got 720,000. So really, according to that, we need almost 5. Right now, I'm asking for 1, and Austin will say, it's like, give us more, because all it's going to do is help us maintain and keep the facility operating better. I truly believe, as we talked to you during the CIP, we need to upgrade the chillers, the 2 chillers and the cooling tower over at the library. Those units, I was kind of surprised. I thought, oh, they must be 30 years old. No, they're just 20 years old. But we don't have the staff to maintain them. And so because of that, when you don't maintain them like you need to, all it does is it gives a premature, almost death to those units. So we truly needed more help in this area. If we can't get the staffing, and we may not be able to find another good ones, we've had trouble in the past with identifying qualified applicants to become part of our team. We need to contract out that work. So we would need to instead of having staffing, we need contracted services where we can at least have a program in place where regularly they're doing the things we need on, especially those larger units. Now we're keeping up on the filter changes. So we're doing that. That's the simple stuff, because we've got the techs helping out with that. But otherwise, there's so many things we need to be doing on these larger units that we just can't keep up with. Right now, Phil is basically reactive to things that are breaking. So that's what he's doing. We also need more maintenance techs. And in the details, I don't know how it is on your screen, but there's probably 4 different asks here. whereas 2 people coming on board is one request, and then 2 other individual requests. But currently, we have 3 building maintenance techs. And they're maintaining 720,000 square feet. We've added 21 buildings, or we've added on square footage to buildings. In the last 10 years, 161,000 square feet, but we haven't added any building maintenance techs. It's a pretty common benchmark standard that you have 1 building maintenance tech for every 50,000 square feet. We need, with that, over 14 techs. We have 3. We're requesting to build that staff as quickly as we can, at least to 7, adding 4 to the staff. Our goal as we start building this staffing level, we want to start achieving a higher level of preventative maintenance. It's just not on those HVAC units. Roofs, we get roof leaks because the roofs don't get cleaned, where there are building envelope issues and so forth. We don't have ownership of a building maintenance tax on buildings. Several weeks ago, I just took a comment. I had a few minutes and I walked through this building. I went back to the office. Here's 10 work orders. Because we just don't have the staffing and the ownership of these buildings like we really need to in order to maintain them. The other thing we did, we invested as an organization in some professionally developed building assessments in 2023 and 2024. There's a ton of work orders that we could create and add them to the work order system. We just don't have the staffing to do them. Strategically, in the long run, I also see an opportunity as we get to a point where we can build up our staff, and I don't know that it means taking from other departments, but I'd highly recommend that we centralize building maintenance. The airport currently has maintenance personnel. Their maintenance personnel, though, are really focused on maintaining the airport, the outdoor areas, not on the buildings. Water treatment plant, they have their own maintenance techs. Their maintenance techs, though, their number 1 priority is to keep the water running. Just the significant work that they're doing with the high quality standards, as we saw last night, and how they've been rewarded in that regard. The PD has 1 maintenance tech, but we're getting called over there a lot anyway. He's supposed to be, but we're doing an HVAC upgrade, but still, it really needs to be under 1 centralized department. Parks, and when I say parks, I'm talking about anything where basically it is a bathroom in a park or something. Right now, they have their own maintenance staff, but I could see benefit in centralizing that. Along with the parking garages, they're under currently District Services, Transform Temple, and I really think with the elevators in those and the fire suppression systems and you name it, those should really be under a department that has that focus on those items. Our next priority is to add a 3rd accounts payable technician. So we currently have 2. In 2022, we had 11,700 transactions, invoices we processed. In 2025, last year, we processed 15,005. That's a 33% increase. So it's reality that it's changing. Again, looking at just national standards, a benchmark would be 1 full-time equivalent to process 3,000 to 5,000 invoices per year. So that would say that we're behind. We need basically at least 1 more with regards to that standard. Another way that we looked at this, there's another benchmark, and we're very manual currently. That's hopefully will change when we change our get out of Naviline and so forth and onto another system. But that's going to be, as Kelly pointed out, we're not looking for that either, because our department and purchasing will be very heavily involved in that. But basically in a manual process, it takes 12.5 minutes to touch each invoice. We have to touch the invoice twice. We have to get it in, log it in, and then when the receiving report comes in, that's another touch. So with that, basically, it says that would be 25 minutes per invoice. We need 6,458 hours per year on invoice. That would come out to 3.1. So bottom line, looking at both standards, we're short really one full-time equivalent in our accounts payable technician area. The shortfalls as a result of not having enough is we're non-compliant, and a lot of times we're tracking that with regards to the Prompt Payment Act. We have done a concerted effort over the last several years to try to encourage all vendors to make sure they're submitting their invoices to invoice@templetx.gov, but that doesn't always get to the vendor like it should or get communicated. So we try to follow up on all invoices that we know about, but all the same, we can't make payments happen unless the department pays it also. So the Prompt Payment Act says that we shall pay our invoices within 30 days of receipt. Because of it, we're also rushing to get things done at times, so that can lead to higher error rates just due to workload pressure and inadequate time to validate annual contract pricing. So we have over 100 annual contracts. They can be from electrical work, plumbing work, and so forth, but invoices will come in, but this staff really, they should be going back to the annual contract to make sure that the department checked that. We don't have the resources to do that right now. So that's a risk we know that we're encountering as a result of that. The value gain from adding another tech not necessarily ensure, but we'll be able to do a better job in timely and accurately vendor payments, and just adding that risk mitigation by making sure that vendors being held accountable to the annual contract terms. And the other thing we'd like to do is just like we've got 3 buyers, and like People Operations has done, each department is assigned a buyer. We'd like to do that same approach with accounts payable tech too, so they know who their person is. Another item, as I brought this one up already, is add an energy and efficiency managers. We have 54 buildings, again, totaling 720,000 square feet, but we have no dedicated resource to manage utilities. I know there's some attention on it in finance, but not really from the standpoint of policies and so forth. There's definitely no oversight on managing the building automation systems that we have. Austin spends a lot of time on that. He understands it. He can look at a system and right in the middle of the screen, that's an example, a very simple look of what we see in our building automation system that we use. As to those little dots are showing where all those thermostats are at, and that's actually a building A at the service center, but it's showing where the thermostat's at. And if someone calls us and says, hey, I'm a little warm, and same thing happens when we're over in the forum room. Like yesterday when the mayor said, I'm hot. And so Austin was right in front of his computer. It's like, mayor says he's hot. He says, well, he texted back, it's like, it's 69 degrees in there. And it's like, okay. We know we have opportunities in that building, but we have a plan to make that better and more equalized once we get more departments in there. And we're gonna add some variable air frequency valves and so forth in that building once we get working on more renovations over there. But all the same, we have currently 14 buildings on a building automation system. There is alarms, but if we had them go to a text message or whatever, some of them are not important at all, but others are very important. But there's no way, at least at this point, and we don't have a staff person to really filter through those. There's no way that Austin can do that. Austin is like a Superman in what he's doing right now. So there's just no way. We need a focused attention on this.
Do you have an idea how much, hopefully that pays for itself plus?
That's what I'm saying is at the bottom of the slide, I say, Austin, I truly believe that this position will pay for itself. The return on investment, if indeed we get EXO, executive management and department head support on this, we truly believe that this position can pay for itself through the savings that it can generate. Because we can go into that BAS system too, like we've got a holiday on Monday. I sure hope that we've got, I mean, as a side job, I've tasked someone to do that, but if I come in Monday and our building is cool, it's like, oh crap, it didn't happen. So, but there's also 13 other buildings that can have that issue too. So there's just, we don't have enough resources to do it. And we've invested a lot in these building automation systems. The other thing, from the standpoint of utility account management, currently if there is a new service request or a delete or whatever, they are coming through me. And so I am the main person for the standpoint of that. I am training our executive support coordinator to do that. But someone does need to understand it like I understand it before I retire in a few years. So and this could be that person. That could be that point person. This goes for outages too. We do not currently have a citywide just sustainability policy with regards to what should thermostats be set at. It's really depending on what the preferences of each. If you go into a fire station, it can be really cold. So, but again, we have no policy to set that on. But again, it takes support to do that and buy-in from management to basically adopt something, but time to create something too that's reasonable for our organization. Our next priority is to add a third project manager, and that's what this started at, and then it really became apparent to me the value that Austin would provide our organization by being promoted. So I say now, because that was all that was presented to the leadership team was a third project manager, but I really feel strongly that we need to fill that construction services division director role too. So our current construction services workload is we have 26 active projects. We've got 9 projects in construction totaling $24.5 million. The biggest one right now, of course, is the public safety training buildings for the police department. That's in the biggest picture there. That's the current status of that with the training building going up. And then we've got 5 projects that are ready for construction, and we've got 12 projects in design. So that all adds up to $72 million. Again, going back to just looking at benchmarks in order to prove how we're feeling in our department from the standpoint of just we don't have enough help, the standards prove that or support us in this. You need one project manager on vertical construction. It's totally different when you go to civil construction. We are working along with the design team all the way from the design of it, getting the right departments involved in it, our end users and so forth, including IT. We're through the design, through bidding, through construction, and through wrap-up and the one-year walkthrough. It's so much different than civil. There's so many elements to it with regards to our involvement in these projects. So they're not apples and apples. I just want to point that out. So according to the national standard, I'm using the high end, we would need 3.6 project managers. So as a result, I understand why our 2 project managers are very stressed because they are operating at 180% of the high end of the national kind of standard or capacity. The addition of a third project manager is essential to meeting growing internal demand, reduce risk of just staff burnout. We're not sustainable where we're at, and Austin can point to that. We want to definitely, I think we do a great job of quality control, but there's only so much we can do with the bandwidth that we have. And just improve overall project oversight. Again, comparing civil projects to ours. On civil, we typically hire the engineering firm to be the on-site rep. Architects don't do that. It's just not typical. So we're the on-site rep on it. The architect will come on the field if they're local, maybe more than once a month, But otherwise, like at that project right there, Austin is out there how many times a week? The police buildings, multiple times a week. Just looking at it, raising questions, valid questions. So we get a good project in the end. Yep. So again, just improve just overall project oversight. It's important that we have the staffing to do that. This does not have, this isn't a top priority as defined by the leadership team, but is add a second purchasing coordinator. We currently have one, and that person is responsible for processing P-card transactions. We process, as of late, 22,000 of those a year. We have over 400 cards throughout the city. We use GovDeals to liquidate our items that we no longer need, vehicles, furniture, you name it. There has to be somebody to manage that program, and that falls under this person. We've recently implemented a city swap shop. Kind of a neat idea, doesn't take a lot of time, but as people leave the city, their logoed shirts typically just never come back to us, but at least this way, if they're still got some life to them, we've got a swap shop now. We also put furniture and so forth on there, so if a department is looking for a piece of furniture, before we just put it on GovDeals, they have the opportunity to get it off the swap shop. And the other thing that this position does is the new licenses for new vehicles. So really focusing on where we really see the stress on this position is the P-cards, and why we really feel like a second purchasing coordinator is needed. Our P-card transactions have grown just like the accounts payable through purchase orders, but is increased 24% in the last 3 years. So, and really what happens on P-cards, at least the way the current program works, is we download a batch on Monday morning. It's typically around 400 transactions or more. And we distribute that to a P-card liaison in each department. They then collect all those receipts for every single transaction. And it's then this coordinator's responsibility to audit and make sure it complies, that they bought the item from the right place, that sales tax isn't on it, that it's charged to the right account. So they're auditing basically 400 transactions per week. The problem, and as you can imagine, we require that all P-card logs be turned in by 10 o'clock on Friday morning. So if you have till 10 o'clock Friday morning, that's when, we typically get a lot of them. So Bryn suggested, and we're already going to implement kind of a sooner deadline, but all the same, we understand all departments have priorities. So there's definitely a need, and we can definitely use this coordinator doing other things besides P-cards on the front end of the week, but on the back end, we really need some help in that regard. Again, it just goes to the risk of not enough staff to implement controls. So all those things that the P-card or the purchasing coordinator should be doing, they're not necessarily have the time to do. The last priority is to add a downtown custodial crew. We currently have 3 crews of 4 that clean 30 buildings throughout the city, totaling about 300,000 square feet. We'll be adding 44,500 square feet in the next 12 months. So again, we've kind of adjusted. What we've done recently is been more strategic about it. Rather than asking more help, we've made some adjustments to doing full cleanings every day when we go through buildings, but adjusting and doing things more strategically, not taking trash from underneath everybody's desk every day. So basically all offices that are deemed just really office buildings are getting just one full clean a week, but then they're getting like break room and restrooms and that thing every day type of thing. So we're being more strategic that way, which has helped us out keep up. But once we bring on that additional 44,000 square feet, that scares me a little bit. The industry standard is one custodian can clean 18,000 to 30,000 square feet. So, when we add that 44,000, we will be at, 28.7, and we're currently at 25,000, I should say. So we're okay, really, we're okay now. The challenge with it, though, is we're so spread out. We're not like, a huge tower office building. We're having to travel to get to, the buildings that we clean. And then the other thing is just span of control. So as we move forward is getting the custodians, all 12, including the team leader, report and are supervised by a facility services manager, Gary Zaruba. That's 12 reports. Really, it makes more sense for that crew leader to be kind of their supervisor. So we want to make that adjustment as we move forward in the years. So our request is to reclass custodial crew leaders to supervisors and to add a fourth custodial crew that would be focused in the downtown area. So we've got 2 different crews really focused on these 6 buildings right here. So what we would do is create a crew that would just really stay down here and basically rotate and also take on, we currently don't clean the library. They have their own 2 custodians, so we would take on the library, add another custodian, then add a crew leader also. But really stay in this downtown area to basically keep the downtown areas clean. So that is our request, and happy to answer any questions.
Question for you. First of all, thank you all for all you do with what you have. We appreciate that. But visiting the Public Works with you, there was a lot of, like the custodial area, people were either stacked together or they shared desks. I know they're out working, but still, is there space for all these new people that you're going to require? Where are they going? And then even the signs area, that was an outdoor space that really had no air.
Yep.
That kind of thing. And I don't know if that's capital project or not, but some of those things need to be improved even before you bring in more people. And then again, where are you going to put these people?
Yep. So we do have a plan. We are we have funding designated to do a master plan study of our service centers.
Right.
We understand, especially the purchasing and facilities, that service center out there really we're in the midst. Our building is that could really probably be better utilized by more of the public works part of our organization. With regards to the staffing that we're recommending here is the idea would be, at least immediately, we would probably move out construction services to another building, possibly to the city manager suites, if they still have space when we get to that point. And then that would free up some additional space there. With regards to custodial staff and facility staff, really they're in the field, especially custodial staff. There is no need for workspace for them at all. They don't log on to computers or do anything. With regards to the building maintenance workers, they currently each have a workspace, but really the standard, that's really not appropriate or needed. Where we need them to be is probably with an iPad, where they can document their work orders in the field and not at a desk. So that's a change we want to make and our vision to change into the future. But ultimately, Brent keeps bugging me about the need of, Belinda, where are you going to put general services? So there's an opportunity, I think, as we look at this master plan for service centers. But what I am proposed right now is for that general services would move to back behind Gober Party House and renovate that existing facility that actually has a clear well under it. We've had a structural assessment done of that building, and we can actually use that clear well as a basement. So we could build a structure on top of it with it done properly. So that is kind of where I would see, depending on what the master plan study says for service centers and so forth, but that's where I could envision kind of the department moving, and that would be a great place to be more centralized. for facility services for responding to our internal customers.
Okay, and you currently have a position open now, right, for purchasing coordinator or?
We do not have any positions open right now, but we will very shortly due to one of our staff members transferring to another department in purchasing.
So the one you had is filled? Because there was one recently.
I'm trying to think, Zoe. Yes, there was one filled, and I think based on kind of our career ladder or path, it's not really a ladder, it's a path, for our purchasing personnel is that beginning position we're hoping that's going to open up again based on the transfer of this one staff person.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
good questions, thank you. Thank you.
I do have a comment. I just want, as we've gone through this process, I have appreciated the departments. I know everybody wants to give the best services we can to our citizens and at the best value, I guess you could say. But I really appreciate what Austin said a while ago when you were talking about looking at stuff and trying to find issues before there's change orders, and it saves money and we still get this same or better product. I really, really appreciate that attitude. That's not prevalent through a lot of governmental organizations, I know, and I think we do a good job of trying to focus on getting the best product we can for the value, so.
Never been on this side of it before, but it's nice to be able to get in their head of it, because I know what they're thinking, it works out well, so.
And I just have to say, I just can't say enough about the construction services team, Austin and the two project managers. All three of them have just this heart for service. And they want the good things. And it's just so, I don't know, just so grateful to have that team and who's on it, so.
And to say, I think our organization has that thought throughout our whole organization. I appreciate it. On the specific thing Austin was talking about, I can tell you contractors appreciate that. Because we want to get a set of plans and go build it, and if there's a problem, get it fixed and move on forward. We don't want to keep backing up and working on change orders too. But so on that specific thing, I appreciate that as well from my paying job perspective. But
It goes both ways, and that's why I enjoy good partnership with contractors, and the whole thing just carries out the project to a better end, and it works out for the best of both sides. Happy to do it.
And I know there's some, I mean, the market is kind of soft right now, that we've got a lot of bidders, but I also was actually on vacation and I went and led the pre-submittal conference at Fire Station 2. I had never seen so many contractors I'm so glad it was outside, like in the apparatus bay, because they wouldn't all fit in here.
Everybody's hungry.
Yeah, they were hungry, but I think also a little bit, I just part of me, but believes that the word is getting around. We've got a good leadership of that department, and people like working with us, so.
my business likes working with the people around here. It has always worked very well. So.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Mayor, council members. Sean Reynolds, present with me is Rocky Bowie, day 10 as our new fleet director.
Came back again,
He
another
did.
day. Way to go,
He came
Rocky.
back. And so I wanted to begin by first thanking you for the work that you do, the investment that you put in of time, energy, and effort into the city, the decisions that you make. We talked a little bit about technology throughout this entire conversation today, beginning with an AED that's supplied, that saved the life of an individual, the training of individuals, the DFR program, and they really screamed by a lot of the highlights of even just that program. It's the investment in that technology is going to reduce response times for patrol officers, and has already created the effect where the drone can go there and realize there's not an issue here and can clear officers, making them available for the next call for service. So your investment in technology thus far is gonna, and I'm gonna relate it to this, Rocky and I were talking before this presentation. If you look at the side of a fire engine or a ladder truck, you see probably 40 gauges, PSI, flow, all those different types of things. So the technology is not just integrated, and it doesn't have to be just big technology, but that investment in the AED made a difference to somebody on the day that it needed to make a difference to somebody. The investment with your heavy-duty technicians, these EVT techs, and we have one, Kayla Heath, who is absolutely extraordinary. And I think it's remarkable that we have just really, really good staff throughout the city, and I mean at every level. You know, folks that have a heart for service, a desire to serve others, and that really live that in their lives. We're asking, this is our only request, it's one slide. I'm asking you to add an additional emergency vehicle technician. And the return on that investment has shown itself already. Reduces our reliance on external vendors, which we pay a significant quantity of money to external vendors. $70,000 cost avoidance over the first 60 days of this program. And that's based on the labor rate that we pay when we outsource it of $167.50 per hour. High quality, timely repairs while lowering outsourced labor expenses generates approximately $35,000 in monthly savings. Projected annual cost avoidance of $420,000 if performance is sustained. If you continue that on to 2 years, you can see that add up. Adding a second EVT expands in-house repair capacity, further reduces vendor utilization, increasing total cost savings, and it enhances our operational efficiency and control over critical emergency vehicle repairs. So fairly significant savings, fairly significant investment, but the return on that investment is of high quality work. I was reading an email of just the correspondence of our EVT tech this morning back to the fire department. And in that correspondence, she lays out every repair that she made to that vehicle, and then they've test driven it, they've taken it out, everything's ready to go, it's back in service. Please come pick up your truck. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Is Siddons Martin, is that the company that's over in Killeen, maybe, that
Yes.
works on emergency vehicles?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if you maybe said it in a different way that I understood it, but I'm sure that the in-house EVT tech also cuts down on the amount of time that a truck's out of service, meaning that if it goes over to Siddons Martin, it sits for however long?
That's correct.
A day or 10 days?
It goes into their, natural prioritization of what they do. Here, we have the opportunity to prioritize those vehicles as they come in.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
What's the, just sort of in a nutshell, what's the difference in an EVT tech versus a tech? Are they simply able to work on a wider variety, like pumps and things like that may sit on a fire truck?
Yeah, that's correct. So they're specifically trained and certified to work on emergency vehicles.
Okay. All aspects, not just drivetrain and...
Yes, most of the aspects. There's still some work that's going to have to go out to a vendor. But similar to a CNG vehicle, you cannot work on that vehicle under Texas law unless you are certified in CNG. It's the same principle that applies here. And those vehicles, from a technological standpoint, they are incredibly intricate. Remember the picture of the 30 gauges on the side. They're more of a cockpit designed from the outside so that our firefighters can read flows and pressures and all those types of things to make sure the system is operational. So you have to have that expertise in order to work on those vehicles, and she is absolutely phenomenal.
What is the dollar amount asked on this roughly? What will this take cost?
I don't have that right in front of me. It's pretty cheap, just to prove it.
Less than $400,000. It sounds like a cost savings to me.
Come on.
I think salary would be about 85,000. About 85,000, of course, plus benefits, tooling, training,
So it should pay for itself several times over, it looks like.
and cost avoidance for sure.
Doesn't Sidney Martin's mark up our parks more than what if we ordered for our vehicles?
There'll be a standard markup, whether we buy it from them in-house or we buy it and bring it to our house.
If you win, you brought us one item and it was save us $300,000.
I felt like that's it.
Very good. Thank you all very much.
Thanks. Yeah.
So Kaylee, the person they were just talking about, she is a rock star. She's actually a rehire. She came back to us, so that should say a lot that she wants to work for the city of Temple. And if you were able to get another one and have, that would be just so much. Because when she's not busy with fire trucks, if that's possible, she can also work on those heavy duty trucks.
Right.
So it's not just a single source, just as a little side note. I just love Kaylee. She's so self-driven. She's one of my favorite people. Hi, I'm Tammy Fennell. I think most of y'all know me. People Operations, I'm going to present to you today. So I need this little fun thing. So fiscal year 27, these are just a program overview for us. I'm going to focus on 3 items for you today. These are things that I think are most important for my organization to be, my group to be successful, and I'll talk to you more about the why. So stats, I use SHRM, Society for Human Resources Management, as a benchmark and a place where, those in my profession learn. So you'll see at the top, I pulled their 2022 benchmark and their 2025, and the top line shows where the benchmark is a number of human resources professionals to 100 employees. So we have always been a lean group and doing a lot of great things, but there is more demand and more things for us to do. So I'm asking for additional resources, not to be right at the 2, but just to kind of keep us competitive and keep my team from burnout. So the first request is for a people operation generalist, and this I think will make a giant impact. Right now I have 3 of those, and I want to go over the transactions that they do, because right now they basically are transactional and can't move to that higher level stuff that is moved to a single director or another manager. So having another person will aid that. So onboarding and offboarding, highlighting that, 655 new hires. The offboarding is the 486. FMLA, 12-week programs, just 79 of those cases. But work comp is one of the ones that I want to highlight. Both FMLA and work comp, even in the SHRM numbers, you'll see that that's typically outsourced. We're a full service organization, so we have those additional components. And so those have some additional complexities of working with doctors and such. Specifically work comp, when you look at the number of cases we have, those are people that come back, but 51 of those last year required additional follow-up that can take, the average was another 12 weeks. And so every 10 days, we're doing a follow-up with the doctor to see what we can do to get them back to work. Is there something that we can do light duty for them? And just going through that. So that requires the generals to have that follow-up and follow-through, and then build that knowledge base, and then that relationship with the department to help them think through that. So that's important, and I think is a good way to get back someone on a limited capacity, so the department isn't feeling a full capacity of someone just being out 100%. Okay, civil service, this is another area of risk for us. So right now I have a single person that manages that, is the primary knowledge tank holder, and that's for police and fire. This other generalist, I'm going to then divide it out so then I can build that, because where that risk is we have 8 entrance exams. Those are done on Saturdays. So every one of my generalists participate in that, but I have the single person that has to do all that legwork, that compliance legwork ahead of time, making sure it gets posted, reading material, working with the test writers, all of that stuff, and then administers the test. So you'll see for police, we had 408 applicants, 149 exam takers. They're grading on site at the time of the test. So we're grading right there, giving results, and 59 of those pass. In fire,
785 applicants, 362 exam takers, so we graded 362, and 256 passed. So promotionals is another process that is done usually during the week, and Fire just added their promotional process to us. So as you can see, that level of complexity adding on to one person is stressful and causes, you know, some additional burnout, but it also spreads us so thin. And so adding another generalist will help in that capacity, because then I could make sure that we don't have a risk of losing information. And when I say a risk in that sense, you know, that individual happens to be part of that sandwich generation. We've got parents that we care for, and we have children that we care for. And so that doesn't leave a lot of Saturdays. That doesn't leave a lot of extra overtime. So I want to be mindful of that person, but that person gives so much of themselves, just like a Kaylee Heath. You know, a love for service, a love for being here, a love for what you want to do. But I want to be mindful and give them a boundary. So policy guidance, you know, they do that first point of contact, but having another generalist allows us to enhance that, because we have a lot of young managers out there, and those young managers need help with policy guidance, doing basic attendance, reprimands, and things like that. My generalists have not had an opportunity to do that, and all disciplinary things and coaching and guidance sit with one person, and that's me. And so that is not a service to my generalists. It's not a service to those that need the assistance. And so I want to make sure that we spread that out so then we can repeat and be faster and get that service out. So when I look at the next item that I'm asking for, it's a reclass of a people operations generalist, because part of what I think would then also help out is then if I could then have that one primary person that makes sure that the training and all the things, and then when it starts to get a little more complex, then that team lead can then work through those things. That could be a complexity in the FMLA work comp things. That's those ADA. So we do ADA type evaluations for those that have different types of accommodation requests. And then the total rewards analyst, what I'll point out to you, this is kind of where our automation comes from, because we're looking, just like everybody, to utilize our technology, making sure that we're using Dayforce and other types of systems the best we can. So you'll see in the investment, our current analyst, through not having to use an outside third party, that's what she saved us, that 159. So having another analyst then also gets that information to another person, so then I can have a repeatable process. Because if I lose this person, and I know all of finance would agree, if I lost Annalise, y'all would just be like, because she just can, it's like, it's just, well, she's awesome. So that's why I'm requesting for another one, because I need her brain.
She said it out loud.
She's a highly coveted, I think she could ask anybody and they would go, yes, please. So anyways, she's a lovely individual, and I need her to transfer her knowledge base and also groom that next person. And then we can add additional enhancements that I can share with you as you're interested. So just a recap. Oh, see, I'm terrible about that. Thank you. I'm watching my screen and I'm not paying attention. Kelly's been a great son. So the return, I believe, improved performance, program enhancements, workload balance, civil service testing back up. You know, we've got all these civil service employees that I know that y'all are going to approve and want to bring in. We're going to have to get them tested, evaluated, and get all those processes. And then staff development, making sure that we're making our pipeline, so when we have a director leave or when we have another person leave, that we have that pipeline that can feed through and you don't see us skip a beat. Okay, so the impact, I guarantee you my team is working at least 40 hours overtime a week, guarantee you. Lack of time for training and skill enhancement, my burnout risk, and task overload. So with that, I wanted to show you how our organization, these are the different services I'm not going to go over these. These are just for you to reference. So the different programs that we have, the different things that are under each of those programs are here for you to review as needed. And then I will entertain any questions.
Tammy, I've done your job at a much smaller level and am always amazed at how much y'all do with such a small group of folks.
Thank you.
So I think your request is very valid in asking for more help, most definitely, but we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much. I've got a passion behind it.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank y'all. Is it good to be last?
That's it for the day, Brendan?
That is all we have for today from staff. Just a reminder, our next one is on Thursday afternoon at 1 instead of Friday morning. We had some scheduling conflicts. So Thursday at 1 next week will be the last session that we have together, and will be our Places and Spaces Department and Communication and Collaboration Department.
Okay, council or staff, anything else? Very good. It is 5 minutes until 11, and we are adjourned. Thank you all for attending, and staff, thank you for your time.